and welcome to UC Today. My name is Kieran and today's session is covering how productized AI makes artificial intelligence accessible for everyone. I am delighted to be joined by Nick Atkin, Head of Solution Architecture at Dubber. Nick, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Kieran. Great to meet you and good to join you on this.
Before we dive into the meat and bones of exactly how productized AI makes artificial intelligence accessible for everybody imaginable, all these organisations. Please tell us a bit about yourself, Nick, and the work you do with Dubber.
Sure. So my role as Head of Solutions is to really work with our service provider partners to both get them engaged and start using Dubber products and go to market with them, but then also once they're Dubber customers and they're integrated and ready to go to market, to work with their marketing and sales team to enable them to exploit the value of what Dubber offers to their customers and hopefully bring sales. So I do that across the world with all of our major service provider partners.
And I think that leads nicely into maybe a bit more of a broader question I have for you before we dive into Dubber's moments and product AI more generally. What would you say are the challenges of taking a complex concept like AI and turning it into a more palatable product for customers and partners?
That's a really good question. A couple of points on this. So the first one is we need to bear in mind as Dubber that our service provider partners have got a channel and a way that they go to market. There's a lot of products that those partners sell. It's not just about telephony, but there's the SD-WAN, there's devices, there's various other things. AI, if you just talk about it, can be a very, very complex solution. So giving AI to a team of a service provider to go to market and say, well, here's some AI that does X, Y, and Z, sell this along with all your other products, it can be really, really challenging. So AI has been spoken by everybody. Then the biggest thing that Dubber's done is we've basically turned it into something very consumable. We've made it simple. We've used a great deal of power to create something very consumable that the service provider can embed as part of their network offering. That's very simple to talk about, very simple to adopt for users to get value from, and therefore quite easy for them to sell.
Perfect. And leading into the core topic of today's discussion, how accessible is the solution, whether it's Dubber's or any of Moments or any of Dubber's other AI products? How accessible are these for each industry or organisation, even those who might not necessarily at first believe they could benefit directly from conversational intelligence in AI?
So that's one of the unique USPs of what we've done. So the way Dubber's built is we're designed to be embedded within service providers' networks. That could be a mobile network. It could be a Microsoft Teams or a Cisco UC estate. It could be a provider's simple SBCs and network. Any way that a service provider delivers voice to their end users, Dubber's embedded in a way where we can capture and find AI-driven insights off all of those conversations. So from an adoption perspective, as we're already embedded in all these networks around the world, it's literally a question of if we have a solution or a moment, as we'll talk about shortly, that finds and identifies some interesting information for that customer. It's simply a question of requesting the service provider to enable a feature within their existing voice service. We can then start capturing those conversations and using our AI in the background to find really useful information that's going to help that customer in an unlimited number of ways based on what that customer's demands and desires are.
Perfect. And as you trailed nicely, then the best way to explore these in more detail is talking about specific use cases. How is Moments and Dubber's AI helping certain organisations? I've seen a pretty cool case study about local government and the public sector that Dubber's working with.
Yep. So local government's a really interesting one. In Australia, we've got a very large number of local councils, same as in the UK, same as in North America. And we service them, have serviced them for quite a long time with simple call recording. Devonport, which would be the use case you're thinking about, it's a small council in Tasmania in Australia. And they've been a long-term user of Dubber from a capture conversation perspective. So they'd have people listening to calls to listen for if somebody had complained or to try and find out what people have been conversing about generally with the actual staff within the council. They were an early adopter of Dubber's AI in our first iteration, where we started transcribing calls for them. Something as simple as transcription and sentiment analysis. So rather than have to listen to a whole call, they could suddenly start Reading a transcript was a lot easier. They could start copying that transcription into a CRM to add case notes. As we worked with them over time, we realized they had a lot greater demands than we were actually delivering because the technology wasn't really available. So we started asking questions around, well, what are the things that matter to you as a local government? And they said, complaints is a number one reason. Why are our citizens complaining? What are the issues that they're experiencing in the community? What are those things about? And also, we've got quite a lot of issues with our staff being abused. Is there a way that we could use your tool to be able to do this? And we said, of course we could. So what we've done is, because we've got access to a large number of customers around the world and their content, if they give us access to it, we can train moments to look for specific things that matter to those customers. So with Devonport, we analysed their conversations and we trained an actual full model around local government and why people call local government. Are people calling about a building permit or a rates notice that's overdue or a parking fine or noisy dog in the neighbourhood? Is there a complaint? Is there something else happening? Is one of the staff being abused by a citizen because there is issues not being resolved? So using our trained models, out of the box, Devonport and any other council now can turn on our service, capture the conversations, and we will identify why people call, if there's an objection or complaint by a citizen, and if the staff are being abused, out of the box with no additional work and effort. So that's how we basically take AI, that's a complicated thing, but our USPs, we train models for a specific use case and then make it available to every provider in the world to sell to the same type of customers.
Perfect. And let's tackle a different space now. For example, how would you say Moments and Dubbers AI helps in the retail world?
It's another interesting use case. It's not an area you traditionally think of call recording within retail. Once again, we've been quite successful over the last few years with large franchises, pizza chains in North America and clothing stores, automotive, different types of companies that have used us to capture conversations for quality purposes, to look for sentiment of callers within the stores. What the new iterations of AI and large language models have done for us is we can now start looking for things that are more specific in these stores. So we're doing some work with a couple of large retail organizations. One's a large sporting goods organization in North America. Why are people calling still? How can we improve their digital process to see why people are calling to ask about golf clubs or some other product? Why are they not fulfilling this themselves online? We can help with that. I think probably the coolest use case we've got is we're working with an automotive company that does tires. And part of the conversation we have when I call and say, I need 4 new Pirellis for my Jeep, they look to see if the tire's in stock, if it's available. And then they say, okay, well, I can do you 4 for the price of 3. They do a soft sell of, can I book you in for tomorrow to get those fitted? To deal with this organization have been using silent shoppers and other shopping techniques to go in and have conversations to see how well different stores did. Secret shopping experience across one store per 6 months. And that's kind of the only outcome they've got. We've used our moments in the same sort of way to say, okay, well, is somebody offering a product? Is that product being rejected or accepted? Using the moment to look for how well that sales performance is doing. And rather than it be just on one store per 6 months, we do on every single call. So it's basically taking another moment. So as a moment of a complaint is a moment, as someone being happy and giving good feedback is a moment, also that sales process another moment. So we've trained our language models again that we can say, if you're a sales organization, we can basically give you some feedback on all the conversation you have to see how well your sales are going, give you some chartability from it. So in retail, everything from selling through to understanding, why people are calling the individual stores and things. So use case has never been thought of really, and getting a lot of traction in the market right now.
Great, and I think that's really valuable in illustrating the insights as part of the solutions. I'm also curious about the compliance capture side of things as well. I imagine that area would have quite a big impact in the banking sector and financial services.
Yeah, very, very much so. Every regulated industry. So our business has primarily been built on recording. So 9 years ago when we first went to market, it was all around capturing conversations for recording on compliance. In the first 3 years, we got the monopoly of tow truck drivers in North America, as an example. So these guys are on the road, they get a phone call saying, I need you to pick this vehicle up from this location. Well, we basically capture the conversation, we store it, they can refer back to it for security. Banks are exactly the same, insurance companies, healthcare, anywhere where there's a regulated industry. And once again, as we're part of the core networks, as we're part of a mobile network or a UC network, we're capturing these really securely at the source, not on a device or external. So it's a very, very compliant, secure way of capturing. And we capture it sovereignly all around the world. And then all those use cases are now starting to also drift into wanting to look at how AI can help that. What more can we do as well as compliantly capturing those calls? We've got banks that transcribe the calls and feed call summaries of those conversations against the customer record directly within their CRM systems. So compliance has been a really, really big thing for us, and our providers' core bread and butter is providing telephony services for these, as we're embedded. Once again, turn on the feature and you can consume straight away.
Perfect. And one final question before I let you go, Nick. When I first started writing about Dubber's Moments as a product earlier this year, one of the most eye-catching features that you guys put out there is that now you've got into the flow, the framework is laid down that potentially you could be producing a different moment every month. Obviously, that doesn't necessarily mean it will happen every month, but it was a really interesting idea that they have the groundwork there for mass production in a sense. In that way, in that context, what is Dubber's product roadmap looking like for Moments and beyond heading into 2024?
We've currently got another 4 moments about to be released. Different organisations we work with, different service providers and their end customers now understand a bit more about what Dubber's doing around moments. And a lot of those customers are coming to us and saying, well, we've got this use case. We are an X organization that have this problem. It'd be really good if you could build a model that would help us find every moment that something happens. So we've been a little bit inundated, which is really great for us. We're working on things right now around, we've looked at complaints and abuse and other things. We're looking at the opposite end of the spectrum for all the positive type of conversations, the affirmation and the customer satisfaction and things. We're doing that. Also doing things around compliance, looking for other areas. But our roadmap is very extensive. And as our customers share their data with us, or we ask if they want to do something, will they share their data? Most customers seem very, very happy to do that because they're going to get an outcome that's really targeted to them. And the joy for us is once we've done that for one insurance company or for one healthcare provider, we can then push that across the world to pretty much everybody. So our roadmap for the next 12 months is very, very busy. The joy of that is, though, we can actually generate a moment in a couple of weeks. It's simply training models. So it's an exciting, busy time. The biggest challenge is going to be, can our service providers keep up?
Great. Well, I think that's quite a positive way to finish that. We're focusing on the great customer feedback as well. Now the abuse and complaints moments have been tackled as well. Yeah, a really optimistic note to end on. I think that's all we've got time for today, but it's been a really good session. So thank you to Nick for being here.
Oh, Kieran, great to be here. Great to chat about it.
And if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share on social media, and we'll see you next time. I've been Kieran Devlin of UC Today. Thanks for watching.